Hi, I'm Maureen Provencher, and I serve on the Ministry Care team at St. Mary's Press. I'm excited to talk to you today about the most popular question that seems to be on everyone's mind. How do we bring our families back to Mass and back into the fold of the fullness of parish life? Well, we've got a very simple idea to share with you. How about a summer program? Why not gather not just the children, but the families and people of all ages to really help you in this effort? We all know that a summer program not only builds community, but it really is an evangelizing experience. It brings about so much joy and excitement that really does spill into the rest of your year and all of the possibilities that can come. And so we've put together some ideas on how to put together a summer program simply by using the Catholic Children's Bible. I'm going to show you now how that can be done. So are you considering doing a summer program? Here are some simple ideas. The first thing that you'd like to do or want to do is to gather a team and develop some of your goals and the outcomes that you'd really like to see from this particular kind of experience and program. You might want to put together a theme for the week or even a theme or sub-theme for each day. Be creative and have fun with it. Then you're going to need some leaders. You want to be able to determine what you'll need, who you'll need, and then to call forth those leaders. So here are some examples of leaders that you may need. The first is a medical professional for the week, whether that's a nurse or an EMT or a medical assistant. This person would not only take care of the Band-Aids and the boo-boos, but they would hold all of the medical forms and they would hold and dispense all of the medicine that children may need during their time with you. Next, you will need leaders who will decorate and prepare the gathering space for the day. And you might, again, with your sub-themes, you might want to add something different or exciting with each day for the children to look forward to. You'll need leaders who will oversee COVID protocols and cleanup. And I'll talk more about that in just a second. And leaders to oversee the games, the crafts, and the snacks each day. And lastly, catechists. Catechists for groups of no more than 8 children for the Bible lesson. And a Bible lesson would happen each day as well. And we recommend 8 children for the best kind of engagement you can have. Each day would include 3 sessions: games, crafts, and the Bible lesson. And you would group the children accordingly so that they would rotate during these sessions, throughout these sessions. And I have a sample outline in just a second. So how do we do this? Simply by using the Catholic Children's Bible as your main piece of material. You would select a featured story that you would use for each day. There are some great and easy ways to do this. The featured stories are all highlighted for you and listed. There are 125 of them to choose from. And in the very back, there are reading plans like you can see here. They're all color-coded so that the stickers on the right are correlated to the stories, the featured stories on the left. There are 8 featured stories in every particular theme that's listed there in the reading plans, and you would select the 5 that you would like to do. The Catholic Children's Bible does a whole lot, and one of the things that it does is to build biblical literacy, and that really is our goal, isn't it? We want our children to become comfortable in opening up and praying with and using the Bible regularly in their lives, and in order for them to do that, and for us to have that kind of outcome, we've got to help them become comfortable in opening up that Bible and using it regularly. And so that's what the Catholic Children's Bible does. It helps them to build this biblical literacy so that they can find scripture by using chapter and verse. They can grow in learning that there's an Old Testament and a New Testament, and that the Bible itself, even though it's one book, there are many books within this one. And this particular bookshelf that's included in the Bible shows this visually. We also help the children to understand that there's a whole plan here, that God has this saving plan, which we call salvation history. All of the stories and experiences, the people of the Bible, people of faith, just like us, who have encountered God, God's presence and action in their lives. as we do too. And so here's the biblical timeline that is age appropriate for children up through grade 5. We also help the children to understand the meaning and the message of the scripture, and then to be able to connect the dots to how we might live that in our lives, even in our young lives when we're in 2nd or 3rd or 4th grade. And then included are the Catholic prayers and practices, all of the wonderful traditional prayers that you would expect to see and that we want our children to learn. So we do this by using a featured story. The catechist and the children only need the Catholic Children's Bible. They would use the Understand It to help the children to learn the meaning of the scripture. They would use the Live It piece to help them connect to the message and how it can be lived. And then the Tell It piece is one of my favorites. It helps the children to really own the story, the scripture story, and it prepares them to be evangelizers of the good news. Another helpful piece might be the Catholic Children's Bible Leader's Guide. This is great for adults who minister with children and want to be able to open up scripture and pray with it, and study it and share it. And so there are some wonderful articles that could really be of help to adults in doing this, from teaching scripture to scriptural prayer with children and how we might handle those dark passages that might be a little scary for children. How do we break open the word and looking at scripture through the entire year in prayer and activities, and then how to share scripture in the family at home. Let's get to the sample outline. You might begin your day at 9 a.m., but have an arrival time set as early as 8:30. Knowing that family life can be hectic and mom and dad trying to get children out the door. I'm sure many of you even know what that's like. And so an arrival time in a half-hour time frame might give families a little bit of leeway to make sure that their children are there on time. And so 8:30 to 9 would be the arrival time. And while that's happening, you would have some kind of activity or game, craft, something that would be going on that would be really easy for children to jump right into as they arrive. So it could be something like a graffiti wall, or it could be a game of pull-up, or any kind of community building type activity that children could just walk right into and become engaged. Right at 9 o'clock, you would start your day with a welcome to the group and an opening prayer. And you might select a song that you would use throughout the week. It could also be used as a cue whenever you gather the entire group together. Using movement and hand motions is something that can make it really fun. From 9:20 to 9:50, this is a half session. As I mentioned before, there are 3 sessions: games, crafts, and the Bible lesson. Each session is a half an hour long, 30 minutes. And within each session, or in between each session, is 10 minutes for the children to move from one location to their next, and to allot them the time to just settle in and be ready. So for session 1, what you would do is arrange the children into smaller groups of no more than 8 and create a lesson rotation for the groups. So for example, group A would begin with the games, group B would then begin with the Bible lesson, and group C would begin with the craft activity. And for the next session, the groups would rotate accordingly as you would determine. Allow for 10 minutes in between sessions. And again, each session is 30 minutes in length. Once session 1 is over, you would have 10 minutes to move the children, wrap up, move the children to their next session, and allow them to settle in. Session 2 would begin at 10 o'clock and last until 10:30. From 10:30 to 10:50, by this time, they're hungry. And so this is a great time for the whole group to come back together and share a snack time. And if you have a guest presenter, this is a great time to include them in for their presentation. Depending on what your theme might be for the week or for the day, you could have a magician that would come in and entertain the children. You could have a petting zoo. I remember one year in one of the parishes that I worked in, we did a vacation Bible school, and it was all based around Noah's Ark. And for one of the days, we had a petting zoo for the children. So this is a great time. Snack time is a great time to do something like that. From 10:50 to 11, then you would rotate the groups and begin session 3 at 11 o'clock. At the end of that, you would regather as a large group in your large group meeting space for wrap up and a closing prayer. On the final day, you could do something fun and hold a family mass or a picnic, include some games, and if the weather is warm, wouldn't it be great to have a dunk tank and some sprinklers on the lawn? You could have it become a festival, something that would gather all of your families together to have fun and celebrate the end of the week. We have just gotten through one of the most challenging times in ministry, given COVID-19. And so here are some suggested adaptations. Please be mindful that COVID restrictions really do vary from state to state. And so you'll want to adjust your program accordingly. But here are some suggestions. The first is to keep the groups small for appropriate social distancing, if that's something you need to do. Provide hand sanitizing stations in every location. Provide a mask for everyone each day. You could even make this a fun activity. It could be one of the crafts, one of the days where they could make or decorate their mask for the following day, or it could be that beginning activity as they arrive to make their mask, 5 masks for each day, based on the faith concepts that you'll be talking about in the themes. Communicate the safety protocols to your parents. This will allow them to really prepare their children so there won't be any surprises, and it allows the children to adapt accordingly. Have the children bring their own snacks or provide prepackaged items if restrictions are still very much in place. Use the outdoors as much as possible, especially if the weather is nice. Sing outdoors only. That might be something that you need to do. More locations may be needed for activities throughout the gathering, so make sure that you are planning accordingly. And have a cleaning crew to sanitize each area after its use every day. You might have to replace hugging with high fives and fist bumps. And consult your local elementary school, whether you have a parochial Catholic school or a regional one, or your local elementary school, public elementary school right in town, and adopt some of their own effective protocols. And lastly, please be sure to refer always to the guidelines offered by the CDC and what is determined by your state. If you have questions or you need more ideas, we're here to help you. We're here to walk with you and brainstorm some ideas based on what your needs are. So please reach out to us anytime. We are your partners in ministry, and we look forward to accompany you every step of the way. Have a lovely day.